So, in a recent poll, I asked my viewers what makes a Pokemon competitive. And I have to say, it warms my heart that at least one of you out there believes a ponyta with nothing but a choice scarf and only a horn drill as a move is actually competitively viable. For the rest of you, I think we all know which we prefer having for our competitive Pokemon. Personally, I'm still thinking the scarf horn drill ponyta is a superior choice, but that's just me.
Is there more to us than the words we say, the games we play? Can we know that we're not dreaming?
So, why are some Pokemon competitively viable, but others aren't? Why is it when people are thinking about a competitive roster, they instantly decide a Pokemon's viability based on, well, 3 of the ideas that I put to the poll? Sorry, Horndrill Ponyta, but not today it seems. Well, as I said, it comes down to one of 3 key factors, and sometimes even all 3 depending on the format. First, let's look at the first idea I put forward. The ability that either helps the trainers or hinders the opponent. Now, there is a reason why so many people will always find a way to fit a prankster Pokemon on their roster, even if said Pokemon hardly ever goes on the attack, or even has 0 attacks to begin with. The sheer utility of the ability makes a prankster Pokemon invaluable to a team. Think about it. Instant screens and reflects, instant speed boosts, or instant speed decreases, instant stat increase or decrease, instant status affliction, instant move order change. All of these being performed before the opponent can retaliate or launch a counter unless they see it coming. And even if they do, they often might not be able to stop it. This is why Pokemon like Whimsicott is so prevalent in many teams in Sword and Shield, and even in previous games we saw similar Pokemon, like Murkrow for example, being used, specifically for their abilities on a team to provide support for our team or hamper the opponent's team. Now, let's take a look at Pokemon that doesn't make the cut however, just to show what I mean. Delcatty. While Delcatty is a far cry from, say, Sword and Shield's poster Pokemon prankster Grimmsnarl, and it's nowhere near a Whimsicott and is slightly less powerful stat-wise compared to Murkrow, Delcatty gains access to a ton of supporting moves that pranksters would salivate over to have. Yet, why does Delcatty have to sit in the stands and watching the other Pokemon try out instead of joining in the crowd? Again, this is because despite the fact that Murkrow is only 5 points higher than Delcatty is in stats, and is in fact only 1 point higher in the speed department, Murkrow's ability gives it that huge edge that sadly, Delcatty cannot match. It doesn't matter if the Pokemon has all the supporting moves in the world, if you can't use them fast enough, it just doesn't cut it in the competitive scene. Now, let's move on to idea number 2. A powerful set of stats that gives a Pokemon high offensive pressure. There's a reason why in the Sun and Moon era, the competitive scene was dominated by Mega Salamence and Landorus Therian, not only for their abilities, but both had a whopping 600 stat line. But Mega Salamence had 2 abilities and gained even more power thanks to its Mega Evolution. These 2 Pokemon were also extremely fast, beating out nearly every other non-legendary class Pokemon in the scene at the time. When both got rolling with their Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Hyper Voice combo, most Pokemon fell to them unless they were matched in kind. To show my point, let's bring out a very famous heavy hitter that sadly didn't make the competitive cut. Slacking. Slacking has the extremely powerful stat line of 670. Making it the strongest non-pseudo-legendary, non-legendary, non-mega evolved Pokemon in the entire game. It has pretty much everything a trainer might want for their team. A massive health pool of 150, a respectable speed of 100, a whopping 160 attack stat, already making it on par with a Pokemon like Zacian. So, why does nobody use it? Well, the answer is simple, because of its Truance ability. Every other turn, Slacking will take a turn to laze off, doing absolutely nothing. He won't attack, he won't defend, he will do nothing. This is how Pokemon balanced him out. They gave him a powerful stat line, but made him utterly useless every other turn. To compensate for this, people use Pokemon that know moves like Skill Swap or Worry Seed to get rid of his ability and make him not slack off every other turn. But in a competitive setting, using one of your typically 2 moves in a battle just to make one Pokemon be able to fight better is not often an ideal case scenario. Most would prefer to use that supporting move to do something else more beneficial to their team. So, let's move on to the third one, a combination of moves and typing to give a Pokemon the edge it needs to be competitively viable. Well, what better way to start off than by looking at the most powerful combination typing in competitive at the moment, Steel and Fairy, of which very few Pokemon share this type combination. One of these was found in Marwile and its Mega Evolution. While Marwile on paper is the weakest Pokemon I've mentioned on this list, what makes it powerful is the fact that it is not only a Pokemon capable of a Mega Evolution, gaining extreme damage and defensive buffs, its ability also changes, which increases the attack stat it has considerably. However, what truly separates it is the fact that aside from Hisui and Zoroark, Marwile's typing is one of the strongest typings to date, if not the strongest, with only 2 weaknesses and a whopping 9 resists, with everything else being neutral. Fairy and Steel typing combined give any Pokemon with this type combination the largest number of resists seen since the Fairy typing was given to it. Combining its considerable move pool as well, priority moves such as Sucker Punch, moves that deal the same type of bonus damage such as Play Rough and Iron Head, and the various elemental Fang moves that give it excellent coverage, combined to create quite a powerful Pokemon to add to any roster, when Mega Evolution was still allowed. And now, finally, I have to admit my sad depression, for despite my attempts, Ponyta, with only a horn drill, and a choice scarf, and a dream, is not competitively viable despite my best hopes. If my opponent brings in a ghost Pokemon, or my opponent uses a Focus Sash, or has the ability Sturdy, or simply faster, there is nothing even a horn drill can do to save me. And that is if the move didn't miss over 70% of the time. But to the one person out there, I salute you, and will continue to try and make Horn Drill Ponyta competitively viable. Maybe in Scarlet and Violet, the hornless horse will finally rise to the top, and stand as a titan for all to admire and gaze upon, if even for a second.
When you've reached the point where you can't go on, just come to me, you'll be safe from harm. If you trust in me, then I'll trust in you. There's nothing more that I need to do. If you put your hands in front of mine, we'll be shining through